Now behind me here is the UK show debut of the Azimut 50 flybridge. Now it's quite rare to see the bigger Azimuts in the UK, so this is a lovely opportunity to take a proper look at this 50-foot flybridge model. So the price for this is £995,000 ex-VAT, but you will get a very good idea of what that money buys you. So first of all, very lovely styling, this familiar, almost trademark mirrored window, big sweep all along the front of the boat, allows lots of light in and gives a very distinctive Azimut look. So let's jump on board and get a proper look inside. Now we've got the covers up. It was tipping down with rain yesterday, so some of the cushions and things are covered, but you can still get a very good idea. So first of all, large platform here, fully down at the moment. Obviously there is room to store a tender on here, and then into the cockpit area there's lots of useful little cupboards here. There's a bilge pump in there, got the shore power cable all neatly tucked away, and it's just nice having a slightly different colour detailing along here. It adds a little bit of visual interest rather than all being white. Again, storage with shore power switching, and these very smart stainless steel gates with the Azimut branding on. Proper stern gear setup. There's a winch there for your stern lines, and then the cockpit. Now, nice U-shaped seating around here, big teak table, very smart, finished rather than raw teak, and then there is access under here to the stern cabin area. This one doesn't actually have the crew cabin fitted, but you can have that fitted out with 1.5 beds down there. In this case it's just a very nice large lazarette with access to the steering gear. Now looking around the cockpit, there is an ice maker tucked in here, and battery switches you can see along with the fire switch. And over on the port side it's a rather neat fridge that tucks in under the seating, and again more lockers over on the port side. Lots and lots of useful space, and there's a shower in there too. And let's go and take a look up at the flybridge while we can. Steps up to the flybridge, and another large teak table dinette seating area up here, which evolves into a sun pad up front. Rather nice being able to chill out up here. And if I move up, you can see on the bow again the cushions are covered, but there is a seating area on the bow there. Now this boat is fitted with the hardtop with a large opening fabric section, so you can let the sun pour in when you want to, but does give you a bit of shelter and shade when you need it. And the flybridge helm position on the port side of the boat, a lovely big Azimut steering wheel, touchscreen navigation systems, and unusually on this boat it's a shaft drive boat, classic shaft drive. Well, it's actually V-drive, we'll show you the engines in a minute, but interestingly it has got the Volvo joystick fitted, so in combination with those two shaft drive engines and the bow thruster, you can have a stern thruster too. This boat's just got the bow thruster, but you have got joystick control, so you can simply push where you want it to go, helps with berthing, or twist the whole boat. It will juggle the engines, put them in and out of gear, decide what steering needs, how much steering it needs, and use that bow thruster to move the whole boat sideways if you want to. And then there is automatic control of the trim tabs, the zip weight trim tab system, to make sure it rides nice and level. So we've just got the solitary helm seat on the port side, that large dinette area over to starboard, and then this is the part of the boat that I really like. It's a stern seating area, and it's a bit of a shame that this is all covered up at the moment, but you can see when you take the rain covers off, there's a very nice sofa area around this table that enables you to sit out here on the aft deck. Lovely little zone just to chill out and enjoy the sun. You are clear of the hardtop here, and there is a wet bar too, really chunky moulding that, with a barbecue grill and fridge, a little bit more storage. So it's a lovely outdoor socializing zone. You can just imagine sitting there of an evening enjoying your cocktails, or maybe having your breakfast out on that flybridge stern section. Very nice feature. Now let's drop back downstairs and take a look inside. Nice to see lots of grab rails everywhere you go, helping you up and down, and then into the saloon. Now this is quite a nice layout here. We've got the actual seating areas aft on this boat. Nice wrap of leather seating on the starboard side. Another little sofa opposite. High-low TV drops down away when you don't want that. And again, some classic Italian detailing here. Look at those whole stack of drawers, and every one of these is beautifully fitted out to store the cutlery and crockery. Even that oval plate has its own little recess, and every single one of these is the same. You've got absolutely every plate, mug, bowl has its own little purpose-built slot, beautifully tucked away in these soft closed drawers, even down to the little Azimut branded coffee cups. How nice is that? And all cleverly concealed. And look at that little curvature around there, rather than so easy would have been just to have a flat cupboard, but no, they've done a beautifully beveled edge there to keep it all neatly tucked away. And then same for the glassware round on this side, all beautifully arranged in that see-through cabinet. Now moving forward, there are a couple of quite tall steps up to the next level, and this rather funky sort of bubble effect glass bulkhead providing a little bit of separation. Then these two steps up, and now we're into a wooden floored section. Now this is the galley, and again this is quite unusual. It means we've got a sort of galley up layout, so it is all on the same level as the saloon, but there's a couple of steps up, and it means you're very much part of this socializing area. So you've got the helm over to starboard, and then the galley on the port side. A couple of big fridge drawers here, which is actually a really good way of storing your chilled goods. It's a lot more accessible than having a fridge that you have to open the door and then rummage around, try and get to the back of. Just pull the whole drawer out and give access to everything. Induction hob on the top, oven beneath, lots of useful storage alongside, and there's all the cutlery in that drawer there. Again, little space for everything, and that's just the sink, but there is a little mini dishwasher down here, again very neatly tucked away, beautifully done. Sink itself, every little space has its own purpose. Even the little recycling bin, two different sections there. And then over to the helm, these grand, rather chocolate coloured leather seats with fold up bolsters and a flip down footrest. Now, it does start to get a little bit tight on the headroom here. You can see I can just about stand up. I'm just over 6 foot and my hair is brushing the headlining, but it's a proper command and control position. Again, similar Azimut wheel, but this time that dark chocolate leather rather than the white one upstairs. It's always nice to see there's an opening window section there, so you can just slide that, get a bit of fresh air into the cabin, and it also helps with communication if you're speaking to your guests or crew outside if they're sitting up front or trying to work out how close you are to the pontoon. It's really useful having an opening section there. The twin screen's a little bit of a reach away, but very much in the sight line. Air vents keeping you nicely cooled, and access to all the systems. All the little backlit buttons, helm seat up, helm seat down. So you've got adjustable, you can see the helm seat whirring up, whirring down. Means you can find exactly the height to suit yourself. Anchor lights, navigation lights, engine room extractor, the windlass. There's even a chain wash, so when the anchor comes up, you can wash the sand and mud off. They really have thought of everything. And then there's the companionway down to the accommodation deck. And we can see very nice soft touch grey carpet. And there's a kind of lobby area here right under the windscreen. You can see still windscreen overhead, so it's nice and light here. But this lobby area has access to really big cupboards. So we've got the freezer section here. The fridge was upstairs, there's two big drawers, but then there's a whole freezer section here. And again, you can keep everything tucked away in there, nicely out of sight, but still close enough to the galley, and a washer dryer too. So in some ways it seems a rather extravagant use of space, but actually it's really handy having a proper kind of utility area like this where you can store everything you need. And again, another big storage area there. Really useful. You can never have too much storage on a cruising boat. And then forward, there's the VIP cabin up in the bow. And it's quite dark wooden colours in here, which slightly absorbs some of the light coming in through those windows. It's very smart, but it means it's not quite as light as it might otherwise be. And almost an egg-shaped bed, but very nicely finished. Little leather sections around the base of it, so there's no sharp corners. You can climb up into bed. And again, that nice rounded finish to the cupboard with, I tucked a heater in there, but you can see that's a hanging cupboard. And then over on this side, there's another cupboard and access to the ensuite bathroom, which actually has dual access. So that this is obviously the ensuite access from the forward VIP cabin and leading into the shower cubicle. But there is also access on this side, so it can be used as the day heads, and of course it is in fact shared with the third cabin. So there's a small bunk cabin on the starboard side, quite narrow berths if I'm honest, but it does mean there is sleeping for 6 in 3 separate cabins down on this deck. And in fact, that seating area up in the saloon, there is also another bed that folds out of that seating area there. I'll show you that again in a minute, but it does mean you can actually sleep 7 or 8 people on board this yacht. And then coming back into the master suite, which is amidships and full beam and a really big double bed here. It's quite low set. In order to get the maximum possible headroom, it's quite close to the deck itself. So there's not a lot of clearance, but it does mean there is plenty of headroom up above the bed. And there is good standing headroom all the way around the foot of the bed here. And then the small step up, you can see when you move up here, there is still just enough headroom for me to stand here. And it's only when you move right to the head of the bed that you need to sit down and make the most of the space here. But very nice full beam cabin. We've got 3 full height windows and then an opening port up there, so there's plenty of light and fresh air that comes down into here. Lots of space around the bed. Big hanging wardrobe on that side. Lots more storage under here. And all along this side there's another sideboard. Again, those triple windows and lots more cupboard space all around. So no shortage of place to store your clothes, your bits and bobs in this lovely full beam mid cabin. So this is that seating area that I was talking about, where this whole table is set on a hydraulic, rather a grand stainless steel hydraulic square section leg. So it lifts up and down, means you can use it as a coffee table or raise it up and becomes a big dining table. And that whole section folds out and then slides across in and out so that you can make a perfectly sized and shaped dining table. So there you go. I've now managed to unpin that, slide it across, and you can see how that table sits neatly into the shape of that dinette. And then over on this side there's controls for the height of that. You can see how it whirs up and down, and indeed that whole table folds right down to sofa level, and then there is a bed that folds out over the top of that and creates yet another double bed. So you've got 3 cabins down below and another double bed there, and potentially a crew cabin in the stern. So you really could sleep a lot of people on board. Technically you could sleep 8 or 9 people. Whether you'd really want to do that, that's another question, but it is possible. It means there's a lot of sleeping space on board. And yet again, under the helm station here, under the helm seats, there are more full-length drawers going all the way along there. So really well thought out. They've used absolutely every square inch of space on board. And then down here is the engines, which we'll take a look at next. And this is the final thing to see, which are the engines. Down here, just get carefully down the ladder. And you can see here is a pair of 725 horsepower Volvo Pentas. And you can see that they are on V drives. You can just see the drive coming out into the gearbox, turning around and then reversing back out of the boat on the traditional shafts with propellers on the end. And doing that just means that you can keep the engines a little bit further back than you could if they were on straight shafts. So there's still a certain amount of boat behind it, but it just enables it all to be a little bit more compact, leaving a bit more room ahead of the engines for the accommodation space. And then if I crawl up this end and turn around, you can see there's a Kohler generator here, and there isn't yet a stabilizer system fitted to this boat, but there is room to install the Seakeeper gyro stabilizer, and that is in fact being retrofitted shortly. But as you'd expect of an Azimut, very nice clean engine room. There's not a huge amount of room above the engines, but it's beautifully clean, it's well lit, and although there's not a lot of space, you can at least get to everything. So that is the end of the tour of the Azimut 50 flybridge. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so that you can know when we're releasing the next tour or indeed full sea trial of a boat. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.